Howdy, folks. I'm nice, Nessie, noisily. Howdy, folks. I'm nice, Nessie, noisily napping through noisy nights.
I'm Amber.
And here are more noisy nights for us to nap through. Those annoying nights, they're always like nosing into my business.
Yeah, not that kind of night. It doesn't begin with a K. These are all N's.
I know.
And as you can see, we ran out of butterflies in my butterfly book, so now we're on cryptids.
Yes, so our new theme are cryptids for at least a little while. So now I am a monster of the highest caliber. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Going on a Test Flight with a Pilot from Work? So, am I the jerk for going on a test flight with a pilot from work even though it upset my boyfriend? I'm an 18-year-old female and I work at an FBO, which is basically an airport for private jets and small privately owned planes. Today, while I was working, one of our home-based pilots, late 40s and married, was doing a test flight. He asked the whole team, around 10 to 12 people, if anyone wanted to join him. I didn't have any work to do at that time, and my boss said that it was fine if I went. I wasn't alone. One of the female coworkers came with me, and for some context, I've known this pilot for about 8 months. It's always been professional. The flight itself lasted about 2 hours, and honestly, it was an amazing experience. But now my boyfriend, a 19-year-old male, is angry with me. He says that I shouldn't have gone because it was with another man, and that makes it look like I'm interested in the pilot. He thinks that I should have said no, even though this was clearly a work-related opportunity and not a personal invite. So Reddit, am I the jerk for saying yes and going on the flight? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. Like you said, this was a work opportunity, and it sounds like a common thing that happens in your line of work. It may be time to look for a new boyfriend who's not so jealous and willing to stifle your career for his insecurities.
Well, this would be a different situation had it just been like an exclusive invite for OP and only OP. And he was like, hey, just on the down low, do you want to go on this test flight with me type of thing, right? That might have been a little bit different. The optics there could have been a little bit more questionable if it wasn't like an open invitation. But given that it was offered to everyone there.
And approved by OP's boss.
Yeah, I know that just shows that this was not like untoward. There wasn't anything weird going on. OP had another female coworker there. Plus, like, he's a pilot. What do they think is going to happen? Well, I mean, if he's got his hands off the pilot's wheel, while they're up there, then, I mean, something's gone terribly wrong, right? So, I don't know. I just think that they're overreacting. The boyfriend is, and that it comes across as pretty controlling, too,
Like, he should go work on his jealousy issues before he continues a relationship.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, then our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to move in with my boyfriend until he learns how to actually clean? So I'm a 27-year-old female, and I've been dating my boyfriend, a 29-year-old male, for 2 years. Things are genuinely great, and we've been talking about moving in together. The issue is that he is terrible at cleaning. Whenever I go over to his place, there are dirty dishes in the sink, sometimes days old, laundry piled up on the couch, and dust everywhere. He says that he's just too tired from work to clean, but I also work full-time, and I still manage to keep my apartment decent. I've gently brought it up multiple times, but his response is always, well, when we live together, it'll be different because you'll motivate me. That honestly feels like code for I'll end up doing all the cleaning while he coasts. I told him point blank that I'm not moving in until he can prove that he can keep his own place somewhat clean for at least a few months. He got upset and said that I was withholding the next step in our relationship and making him jump through hoops. From my perspective, I just don't want to become a live-in maid. But he thinks that I'm being unfair and judgmental. So am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. OP, you are being really sensible. If he cannot keep up the apartment now, it's not going to change when you move in. You are absolutely right that he's going to be like, oh, I'm just too tired from work. Can you cover it for now? Like, this I'm too tired from work is not going to change. He's always going to have an excuse, and you're going to be the one who does everything.
Well, I mean, I don't know that this is going to solve the problem, to be quite honest. Like, even if he does clean, what's going to stop him from coasting once they start to live together?
Well, that's a fair point, too. Like, if he were to, it would feel, like, insincere and like he's just trying to. But the fact that he can't even be bothered to clean for a few months, I think it tells you everything you need to know.
And, I mean, like, they're young. How old is he? Like 22 or something?
I don't remember
the ages here. But the thing is, like, yeah, I mean, it's work to keep a household together, right? And it's going to be a lot more work the older you get. And that's just the reality of the situation. So it's one of these things, if he doesn't have the self-discipline now to clean, then it's really hard to trust him that he's going to have the self-discipline to clean when they're living together, right? And I think, like, if OP really wants to end up moving in, there needs to be like a strict chore schedule that says these are the chores that you will do, and if you fail to uphold your end of the bargain, then we're done, type of thing, right? Type of written in stone type of contract where, they reevaluate the relationship after, 6 months, and if he's not pulling his weight, then it's over, type of thing. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, like if I were OP, I just would not move in with this guy. I'd probably just dump him at this point in time, because if you living with a partner, it's a goal of yours, and you don't want to be their live-in maid, this does not seem like the guy for you. Like, again, he can't even pretend to clean for a few months.
Yeah, well, it's difficult. Sometimes people do have a hard time motivating themselves to clean, and I think that is the reality of the world. But I think, like, it just depends on how much hand-holding OP wants to do, and, what they're willing to put up with too, Let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Fiance That I Don't Want Him to Give a Speech at Our Wedding After What He Did at a Friend's? New throwaway because I don't really use Reddit, and my friends know my name. Also, I'm sorry if this is written weird. I've never posted on here before. So I'm a 22-year-old female, and I'm engaged to my fiance, a 23-year-old male. We've been together since college, and yeah, relationships are hard, but I really love him. However, he has a bad habit of trying to be funny when his words aren't. A few weeks ago, when we were at a friend's wedding, and he got asked to give a toast. I was proud at first because he's not usually a serious guy, but then he made it into a stand-up routine. Instead of just saying nice things about love or marriage, he made this whole joke about our relationship. He said something along the lines of, well, if you think marriage is hard, just look at me and OP. We fight like cats and dogs, but somehow we still haven't ended things yet. Then he said that he only proposed so that I would stop nagging him. Everyone laughed, but it felt so tacky and honestly kind of humiliating. I didn't say much afterwards because I didn't want to ruin the night, but I told him later that it hurt my feelings. He just shrugged and said that I was being sensitive and that people thought it was hilarious. Now, with our own wedding coming up, he keeps saying that he can't wait to do a speech and roast me in front of everyone. I told him no, he's not going to do a speech at our wedding if he's just going to make jokes about me and us. Well, he got mad and said that I was trying to control him, that I don't get his sense of humor, and that I should trust him. But I just honestly don't trust him not to embarrass me or say something degrading. I told some of my friends, and they said speeches are supposed to be fun, and that this isn't my thing to control. While others who have seen the way he talks publicly say my concerns are valid. So I don't know whether or not I am overreacting or not. So am I the jerk for telling my fiance that I don't want him to do a funny speech at our wedding? All right, folks, what do you think?
Opie, don't marry this man. Even if he were to agree that he's not going to do it, you are going to get roasted. He is going to go ahead and do it because he doesn't care about how you feel. It's all about him being the funny man and getting everyone's, oh, look, they think it's so hilarious. But he's noticed who's not the butt of the joke. He has no problem bringing you down so he can feel better about himself and feel like, oh, I'm so fun. Like, this just reminds me of squirrel jokes from SpongeBob.
Yeah. Well, it does have a vibe like that. And the thing is that I think you bring up a really good point where he's not making any jokes about himself. He's only making jokes about OP and how, like, oh, he only proposed to OP so that they would just be quiet. A shut-up ring, if you will. That doesn't sound like somebody who loves another person. It just sounds like somebody who's like, I'm just tired of hearing you whine about things.
Well, and OP is very young, like 22, and my partner's 23. Like, there's plenty of time to find someone where your relationship doesn't feel hard. Like, yes, every relationship will have hardships, but if you honestly feel like it's a struggle to keep your relationship together, that is not a sign that you should be getting married.
It almost feels like he's intentionally like trying to drag OP down so that OP will be the bad guy and break things off. Like, I don't know how you would expect anyone to put up with that kind of abuse, right? And I don't know. Maybe he just feels like he has OP under lock and key so much that she isn't going to leave him no matter what.
I mean, well, she hasn't left him yet, and she took his ring, so I mean, That's my guess too, is that he just thinks he's got OP in the bag and he can say and do whatever he wants and she's not going to leave him.
Yeah, it's a pretty terrible situation. I think that OP definitely needs to reconsider this relationship and really reconsider being with somebody who they don't enjoy their humor, right? I mean, you're going to be with this person for a very long time, and if you don't like their humor, then maybe they're not the person for you anyways. Like, people's sense of humor sometimes collide, and maybe that's an important aspect that you should consider. Maybe this is a good deal breaker to have.
Yeah, well, and it goes beyond that too, in that he is not willing to hear you out and take your feelings into consideration. Yeah. Because if you're trying to be funny and you say something hurtful, the appropriate reaction is to be like, I'm so sorry. I thought it was funny. Everyone was laughing, but I can see now why that was hurtful. I won't do that again. And not to be a double down and be like, it's hilarious. I'm so funny.
But also, who are these guests that are actually laughing at this?
I mean, I don't know. Like, this is like not funny.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Sitting on the Floor in a Store? I was recently at a big box store with my husband. For the past couple of years, I've been having some health issues where I randomly come close to passing out while standing. I've been trying to figure out what causes it, but doctors have been dismissive so far. When I feel an episode coming on, I need to sit down. When he was looking at something at the store, I felt an episode coming on. Sometimes it'll pass and I'll be fine. But this one didn't, and I knew that I needed to sit down. I told him that I didn't feel well, and I was going to go find a place to sit. I pushed it too far, and I couldn't find a chair before I had to sit down. I felt like I didn't have a choice but to sit on the floor. I was in a less populated part of the store, so I wasn't in the way. I texted him that I had to sit down, and later he came to find me and saw me sitting on the floor drinking my water. He told me in a whisper yell to get off the floor because it was gross and embarrassing, but I told him that I will as soon as I can. I really need to sit because I feel very unwell. Well, I sat on the floor for a total of 10 minutes. After that, I was well enough to go find a bench to sit on while I waited for him to finish shopping, and then we went home. He keeps saying that there was no reason that I needed to sit on the floor in the store and that it was embarrassing for him. He told his parents about it, and they have agreed that it was weird and that I should have just gotten over it and was being dramatic. Am I the jerk for sitting on the floor in a store because I wasn't feeling well? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. Absolutely not the jerk. I mean, what was he expecting you to do? Just pass out? Then he'd probably be like, oh, OP, you need to pull it together. How dare you embarrass me by fainting in the store? Like, you had no good option in his eyes. Like, he doesn't seem to understand that you can't just push through medical issues sometimes. There are things that you got to take care of them right now, and it may not be ideal, but, when your body is telling you, you need to sit down, sometimes you got to sit down.
Well, and then also the fact that he didn't even follow OP, he didn't interrupt his shopping trip while she was having a medical emergency.
Right. Well, and he's not concerned at all about her well-being, only about the appearance.
Yeah. So I think that is a pretty big red flag, if you ask me. I couldn't imagine letting Amber go and find a place to sit down if she was feeling terribly sick or something like that. I would want to at least escort her to a place where she could sit for a few minutes, right? And it sounds like these episodes don't last very long. So what does it hurt to sit down with somebody while they're not feeling well, right?
Yeah, and make sure she gets where she needs to get without passing out.
Yeah. So to me, it feels like he's partially responsible for this whole ordeal where she had to actually sit on the floor because he didn't do anything at all to help her get to the place where she would be not having to sit on the floor, right? I mean, maybe if she had him to lean on or something like that, she could have made it to somewhere place proper to sit. And I use proper in quotations because I don't think she was wrong with sitting on the floor, but it wouldn't be my first choice if I were not feeling well, right? And I would prefer to sit in a chair personally, and I'm sure she would have as well. But sometimes those things don't work out that way.
Yeah.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I'm a 28-year-old female and my boyfriend, a 30-year-old male, secretly invited his parents to move into our house without telling me. Throwaway because my boyfriend uses Reddit. So I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years, living together for almost 2. We bought a house together last year. We had lots of talks beforehand about boundaries, financial planning, and how important it was for both of us to feel like this was our space. Well, last week, boyfriend casually mentioned that his parents might stay with us for a little while. I assumed that he meant for a week or 2, maybe up to a month. Fine. They live in a state, and I know that they've been struggling financially, so I didn't think too much about it. Well, I found out yesterday from mother-in-law, not even from boyfriend, that the planned visit isn't just a visit. Boyfriend apparently told them that they could move in with us indefinitely. As in, they've already sold their place and are arriving next weekend in a moving truck. I was stunned. I confronted my boyfriend immediately, and he acted like it wasn't that big of a deal. He said, well, they're my parents. Of course they have a place here. When I told him that a permanent arrangement was never discussed and that I didn't consent to it, he got defensive. He said that I was being cold and ungrateful and accused me of hating his family. For some context, I don't hate his parents. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are fine in small doses, but they're very traditional and openly critical of me for not being quote-unquote wife material. We're not married and we have no plans for me to quit my career. Mother-in-law has made comments about how she would love to help raise the kids. We don't want children right now. Father-in-law is the kind of guy who thinks that women belong in the kitchen. So the idea of them living with us full-time is challenging. I feel completely betrayed. Boyfriend made a massive, life-altering decision without my input, one that directly impacts our home. He keeps brushing it off like I'm overreacting. I don't even know how to come back from this. How should I deal with this? All right, folks, what do you think?
Oof, this is difficult because there's a house involved. Like, I think the relationship is over. You know, if he is willing to move his parents in, and it sounds like he doesn't stand up to them for you either. You know, if he's willing to move in parents who are going to use this time to belittle and demean OP for not living up to their standards without consulting OP at all, like, it shows how little he values her. I would talk to someone who with legal knowledge about how to get off of this house. Like, I don't know, like you might have to sell it or something like that, but I would get out of this relationship in this house as soon as possible.
I think it is even deeper than that, right? I think that the boyfriend has taken a page out of their father's book.
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks that he can make decisions, that he's the head of the household without consulting OP. And if that's not the kind of relationship that OP wants, then OP needs to get out of this relationship because they're fundamentally not compatible. And I wouldn't be surprised if boyfriend shared more views from his parents than he's letting on. And the reason why is if he isn't actively defending OP against the parents, then that's kind of a tacit endorsement of what the parents are saying, right?
Yeah.
And while OP might love their partner, and I mean, there might be a lot of, qualities that they love about them, they need to find out, doing some soul searching, if this is the kind of life that they want to have for the rest of their life, type of thing, right?
Right. Someone who respects you so little that they will move people in without consulting you. Like, how would he have felt if you moved your parents in? Mm-hmm. He might say he'd be fine with it, but like we all know he wouldn't be and would have expected to be consulted and to have a say.
Yeah. And so, rightly so, right?
Yeah.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
What dessert is most suitable for a shoemaker?
Oh, well, I know exactly what kind of dessert is most suitable for a shoemaker because I spent a long time as a shoemaker. And you might think, well, it would be something sweet, but no, it isn't. Shoemakers like to eat tongues. Their favorite things are tongues. And I mean, that might sound a little weird. It might sound a little off-putting, but you put a little bit of a dusting of fairy dust on the tongue, and I assure you, it's very tasty. Shoe tongues, there's nothing like them.
I will pass, but a cobbler.
I don't eat myself, to be quite honest.
I like an apple cobbler.
Oh, now I get it. A cobbler, not a cobbler. I see. I got it now.
And it's eat an extra dessert day.
So don't eat the tongue of your shoe. I don't recommend it.
Yes, and if you're going to eat a cobbler, make sure it's the fruit kind and not the human kind.
And I would hope that would be self-evident, but if it wasn't, then... I
was clarifying because someone seemed to have issues with my joke.
Well, I didn't want to eat myself, so I didn't see what the problem was. And I have a special guest tea. And folks, I reached into the very back of my tea cabinet and I pulled out a tea from days gone by called Ultimate Green Gourmet Tea. It's a nice loose leaf tea. It's from Zehenas. I don't know if you can read that or not, but it's spelled Zhenas. And it's okay. I mean, honestly, it's a very tasty tea, even if it's like long since expired, like years expired, let's put it that way. But I don't think tea goes bad. I don't know. What do you think? Does tea go bad? I don't think it does.
Well, it's supposed to lose its potency.
Yeah.
Like if it's just pure tea, it doesn't like it's just plants. It doesn't really go bad in like the spoilage sense as long as it's not like exposed to things like moisture.
Yeah. So it's a blend of green tea and white tea, lemongrass, green tea extract, matcha, stevia, and natural flavors. It's a nice tea. It's a very mild tea. I actually quite enjoy it. I mean, it tastes like green tea, but it also tastes like all those other things. Like there's lemongrass flavor in it and everything. It's good. It's good. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy special Friday Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on terrible relationships.
If someone doesn't respect you before marriage, they're not going to respect you after marriage.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.